Good afternoon. I have always asked myself about religions. I still don't really understand them completely. There's so much mystery, mysterious energies around religions. Could it be that there's a coded intention and a force energy field that is accompanying the messages of religions? Could it be? Now, I have some thoughts and questions about religions, especially about the origin stories of religions, plural. Now, I'm talking about Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. They have one God. This is what they have in common. And they tend to have a very similar origin story. So the very beginning of these three Abrahamic religions seem to be almost interchangeable. For example, Adam and Eve, the story of Adam and Eve, how humans were created. This is quite similar in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. The Great Flood is quite similar. God built the earth in 7 days. This is quite similar for these three religions. And the prophets are almost the same in these three religions. So what's the big difference of these religions? But that's my point of this video is, what does it mean if these origin stories, or the origin story, Adam and Eve, the creation of man, is the same? This means we have billions of humans on this planet that worship, or that cater out, or that have the religion of these three. So really, I would need to do a calculation, but possibly it's half, or even half of, or almost half of the planet's population that caters out to the same origin story. Now, this is a huge power that these three religions carry over their subjects, over their people, over their worshipping human beings that believe in these three religions. So the beings, the characters, the humans, the families, supposedly all derive from Adam and Eve on this earth today, the humans that we have. Perhaps, though, there were other humans or beings in other physical realms, planets worth mentioning, which were around at the same time. Perhaps, question mark. Because many what we today call pagan civilizations, or other civilizations, and there are many that were buried under Christianity, that were buried under Islam, and so forth. So, for example, the Celts, they had other legends. For example, the Romans, they had other origin legend stories. The Canaanites, and many more. The people of Indonesia before Islam came, what did they believe in? There were probably completely different origin stories. They didn't talk about Adam and Eve, I would assume. So so this is a bit strange for me that we have this one-sided origin story, but these are three big religions, and they're quite dominant. So now I'm pondering on the thought, if it's just a question, I don't know if it is as such, if somebody had an agenda to remember the family or the clan that derived from Adam and Eve? Question mark. Did somebody want to place the descendants of Adam and Eve and this clan on a certain stage in order to have a dominant position? Question mark. Could be. Maybe it is as such, maybe it is not. Because there's so much energy that is put on the tribe that derived from Adam and Eve. Now, I want to give examples why it is so important, because you could say, who cares? This is a long time ago. Who cares about all this old stuff? Who cares, right? You could say that. Now, in order to have a dominant position on this earth, on this planet, you need to create legends, and you need to put energy towards families, towards clans that are worshipped, in order to not just give you the energy of today, but to give you a continuous energy of millions of billions of people who are worshipping. Even if you're not worshipping, even if it's just a dogma in your head that the story or the legend is like this, you're still putting energy into this. This is law of attraction. And these natural laws play such an important role what concerns the ruling of our planet Earth and beyond, probably. So I want to give examples. I heard, I wasn't there, I never went to North Korea, but I heard that foreigners that go to North Korea, they are supposed to, or made, or have to pray, or at least pay respect in front of tombs, or is it monuments of the Kim family. I heard this, and it sounds reasonable. And at the same time, the locals also have to pay tribute or pray or kneel down in front of a monument or a tomb, and probably they're taught to pay respect to them in school, I would assume. Now, this is example one. So a second example is going back to ancient Persepolis, the vassals of the empire. So basically those tribes and those states that were overthrown by the Persians, they had to do a pilgrimage in certain phases. I don't know if it was every year, every 5 years or so, and they had to go to the city of Persepolis, and it was built in order to awe the vassals who came there, and they had to pay taxes, and they had to worship and do all sorts of things in order to pay tribute to the Persian Empire, and probably to the king or to the Khan, or whatever they called the Kaiser at the time. So again, we have energy towards a family, a ruling family, and this is over time. It is not just in 1 year, but this is over a large time of history. And it's the same for the religion, because these three Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they put energy on this clan, on the people who derived from Adam and Eve. They put so much energy over thousands of years, and it's billions of people. Indonesia has over 200 million people. The Arab world has over 300 million. The Christian world, well, Europe alone has, with Russia, if you include it, has 500, 600,000. South America is Christian, and so forth. So you have really billions of people that cater out to the origin story of Adam and Eve. So this is quite powerful. This is incredible energy directed towards this, and also in the school curriculum of Christian and Islamic lands, and probably also in Israel, you put a focus on the origin story or the religion, these three religions. So even so basically every kid, even if they're not super religious, they're still taught elements of these origin stories. At the same time, of course, we have science, which also which often also has an agenda in order to pave the way for those who are in charge. Now, in order to start with a conclusion, I ask myself, considering the law of attraction, if you put energy somewhere, it means that the energy then is manifested into reality. So we have billions of people believing in the origin story of Islam, Judaism, and Islam over thousands of years already, with billions of people. So this is like super duper hyper law of attraction. So there's so much energy, and energy is measured in terms of force fields, Kraftfeld in German, and this is quite quite powerful. This is like incredible. So Adam and Eve are humongous. Even in these societies, you don't think about it every day, but it's sort of implanted as a dogma in your head that this is somehow the right history. Now, I'm not claiming that the clan of Adam and Eve intentionally marketed itself rather well, malevolently, and at the same time put a shadow on the existence of other rival families or beings. Not saying this. Nevertheless, knowing that history and possible religion could be most of the time written by the winner of conflict, a rogue mind may think evil of it, or may think otherwise. In German, ein Schelm, wer Böses dabei denkt. But again, it's only a thought, because I don't have the empirical evidence. It's just something I'm pondering on. In any case, the marketing, energy, advertising, marketing of Adam and Eve is huge. Considering that other cultures outside of the Abrahamic religious realm do not market Adam and Eve as the first human, it gives legendary evidence as opposed to empirical evidence that the energetic marketing advantage of the Adam and Eve family has an energetic advantage. So, in order to show by example what I mean by this is, especially since the pagan traditions with other origin stories make up most Abrahamic lands. So what I'm trying to say, the people who lived in the land before Islam, before Christianity, before Judaism, there were human beings who had another origin story. So for example, the Celts. The Celts were overran by the Romans. The Romans have the they have the Christian religion. And the Celts, they had completely different origin stories. And now the Celts, now who are the Celts? The Germans, the Scandinavians, the Swedes, Ireland, and even France, because France was also overrun by the Romans. And even the Romans themselves, they had other non-Christian religions before, and the Greeks had a pantheon of gods, and they had other origin stories than Adam and Eve. So they are now deprived of this, and the energy that used to go into their own origin stories, because they all had legends and had sagas and they had tales that they told themselves before the big bonfire where they were telling stories and so forth, because not everything was written down in the time. So, and as I said, the Indonesians before Islam, they also had their own origin stories, they had their own religions. The South American natives, the North American natives, and basically everybody who was under the realm of the Abrahamic religions, they had completely different origin stories. Now, why is this so significant? To have your origin story if it's been taken hostage or changed. Why is this so important? Because the old culture to use another example, the Aztecs, or as we talked about, the Celts or the pre-Islamic Canaanites, they, time-wise, those old cultures were closer to actual origin events than we are today. So maybe they had some knowledge there that was taken away, which would be helpful if you're trying to compare and understand. So I would like to know a lot more about these origin cultures that have now, well, it's probably too extreme to say taken hostage by Christianity and Islam and so forth. Anyways, so I'm trying to understand what are these other origin stories, and why are we not talking about them, and why are we not comparing them, and why are we per se just saying it's the Adam and Eve story and it's the family that derived from them that are such important tribes and where the energy is put. So now I have learned that taking away ancestral ties, I have learned personally, I have learned myself, I have learned because I have a quite significant ancestral origin area which I have not been taught by my parents who I grew up with, because I have another father who I did not grow up with. And this father that I only got to know at a late point in my life, I am now searching for these roots, and I'm realizing that these ancestral ties and understanding is very important for my development and my comprehension of my existence in this incarnation. So I have learned that taking away ancestral ties makes humans weaker and less capable of shaking off the shackles of those who want to rule. So this I have learned from own experience. Now, on a larger scale, if you take away ancestral ties, and now let's say South Americans or Indonesians who are really far away from the old land of Canaan and Palestine, and now they have religions, Christianity and Islam, put onto their lands. Now, wouldn't it make sense to also look at these old legends and origin stories of these lands, which are now dominated by Islam and Christianity? I think yes, it is important to also look at this, because there is so much ancestral knowledge, and at the end of the day, it's important that you know who your ancestors are, and maybe by having such a dominance in the field of the Adam and Eve story, it takes away ancestral power, knowledge, access, and energy towards the actual ancestors of so many lands on this planet, on this earth. So at least digging up the legends, the bits of truth of the origins of the true ancestors of the pre-Christian Romans, the Canaanites, the Mayas, the Celts, and many more may give us strength, inner strength. And this is what my channel is about. It's about inner deep power, because if you know your ancestors, you have power. You know what you're doing here. You know why you want to go a certain path in your life, and you also realize what your life purpose is and why you are doing things and what you want to pursue and so forth in life. So it is super important to know who your ancestors are. So again, having one big lump of ancestral story just dumped over everybody is not great for the development of individuals, because maybe the energy goes towards families and clans and so forth that are not so important for your actual ancestors. So I think a lot more light should be shed and put and focused on the areas of who are your ancestors, what are your roots, and humans should also have they should also have the courage. They should absolutely have the courage to rethink, to remeditate, and to rewrite the origin story in the way that gives them energy to lead a deep inner path life for yourself and for your family and for your actual clan, rather than putting the energy somewhere else. Because we want to govern ourselves in a way that we are powerful and that we can grow and that we see a purpose and that we can listen to our inner voice, which is inside of ourselves. And by being quiet and by liking to listen to the thoughts, and by shaping your thoughts, and by listening to your thoughts, and by shaping your thoughts, and by creating what you want to do, then you come into a path where all of these deep issues matter, and they're not just something written in a book, but it's something extremely important for every human being to pursue. Where did I come from? Where do I want to go? How do I want to shape my life and my existence? And what am I doing here in this incarnation? I wish you all the best.